Hello and welcome to the MicroOS install workshop, or Immutable Desktop if you want to. My name is Luboš Kocman and I would like to guide you through the installation and some of the tasks that we've prepared for you to kind of get you familiar with the platform. The goal is to show you some of the new concepts that you will be able to find in next generation distribution from SUSE, and also next generation openSUSE stable. As you know, after 15.5, once 15.5 is EOL, which is roughly in 2 years from now, we plan to move users to the new platform, right? So let's see how it could look like. One thing to just mention in the beginning: we are basing this not on the ALP or adaptable Linux platform that you may have heard about, because we don't have any prototype which would have desktop in it yet. But we are basing it on MicroOS desktop, which is kind of the closest to what you can expect in our next generation projects or products. So let's get started. I already downloaded the image, but let me start from step 0, which is the news openSUSE.org article about the workshop. Today at 16:30 CEST, which is my time zone, or 14:30 UTC, you will actually be able to join the workshop on the meet openSUSE.org/meeting. I believe it's mentioned in here. So just join the meeting, meet openSUSE.org/meeting. It's a Jitsi instance where we can all install it together, discuss issues, and go through task list. The expectation is that you would stay at least a few days or a week on the platform, and then after the workshop is over, we will meet again in a week on some sort of I have a Lucid Spark table, which will serve us as a workshop where we can all collaborate and discuss what we did like, what was blocking us from using it as a daily driver, and so on and so on. So feel free to join. If you are shy to speak up, don't worry, you can basically work in the write-only way. You don't have to speak up on the meeting itself. I will be screen sharing, so we'll be all able to see and brainstorm a little bit together about what are the areas that need attention and so on. Good. So we have the sheet open. As I've mentioned, it's in the document reference spreadsheet. There is a small task list that we've prepared for you. It's just for your own knowledge. Like, we are not necessarily looking for bug like with this particular task or so. We just want you to be familiar with how to do XYZ, and then try to enable you to use it as a daily driver for a week or so. So task number 1, install, or we start from 0, installation. So you are supposed to get MicroOS desktop image from get-openSUSE.org. Keep in mind that this video is for Intel. If you want, if you are using ARM, or if you plan to install it on Raspberry or similar, then Dan Chermak has a video. Maybe you will not be able to do all the tasks, but he will guide you through how to do as most as you can on the Raspberry. So let's focus on the Intel. So go to get-openSUSE.org as mentioned here, or you can use the URL MicroOS, download, go for the ISO image and download it. I've already did it, so it's here booted. And the task is basically to install it. So I will use the defaults. If you don't like Linux, you can go for AppArmor, which is also an option. You can also please add yourself to the list, just like I did. And if you are doing something different, or if you, for example, if you know about better way how to do XYZ, feel free to tell us. You can use it also as sort of feedback loop here. But like, still, we would really appreciate if you would join the workshop session. And I mean, like, the feedback session. Again, if you do the task, mark it as okay. If you skip something, it's perfectly fine to skip it. I did try to use hints such as, let me just click here so we do not lose time. I'm using GNOME. You can use KDE if you want to, but the workshop or set of tasks is really GNOME oriented, but like, use whatever you like. Just need to maybe adapt the task in your mind to work for KDE use case. So you see here it says Linux. You can go for AppArmor if you want to. Some people did so in the, you can see it in the comments of others. And every time when you do the task, just hit OK, so you can continue next time where you ended. Entire set of tasks should be doable within, let's say, half an hour. The installation takes a few minutes, depends on your connection. I'm installing it in VM. Otherwise, I'm using MicroOS desktop as my daily driver for maybe third week now. It's perfectly fine. I can do all of the tasks that I need to do in my daily life of release engineer for Leap. Release manager for Leap, sorry. So we can see that I'm cheating. While we are having the installation, the tasks are separated into 10 categories, starting from installation, the stuff that you usually have to go through when you install your system. So updating of the system if you don't have the latest updates. Then we are showing users how to install software without reboot on transactional system. Because, transactional usually, like what's meant is that, we have transactional-based immutable system, right? So we, as an transaction, we install all the changes into a new snapshot. And then once you are actually, once the installation or update is done, you are actually expected to reboot into the new snapshot that contains the change. If something went wrong, you can actually trash it and use the previous snapshot. So there is always a working snapshot of your system. But there are some ways how to actually avoid the reboot, right? So one way is to use Flatpaks. We are installing them users on the user side, not system-wide here. We will show how to do it through CLI. Then the other way how to do it is to use to install stuff into a container, something like Toolbox, which can be quite new for you. Again, you don't have to reboot your system. Then we will actually get to transactional updates, which, as I mentioned, are using the snapshots, and you have to reboot to see changes. Then the next thing is changing the immutable OS, because as you may know, we are using read-only root partition here. So if you want to change something, if you need to, in many cases may not be a good idea, but there is a way. We will show you how. Then some basics of using containers, like how do you, on similar system, which is expected to use more Flatpaks and containers than ever before, how do you run something like Easy Apache or Nginx in this case, and have web server. Then we have a tech preview of the GDM, which is running in containers. So we have completely decoupled the system, the graphical stack, so you can actually exchange it completely without reboot, which is currently problematic. So there is an optional task for you. Then, something, how to build Flatpaks in OBS. There is a nice tutorial. So if you are up for it, you can test it. It takes a few minutes. And then, as I've mentioned, we will have 2 feedback loops with the Lucid Spark whiteboard, and one will be on 9th of August, which is in a week from now. Same slot, same meet openSUSE.org/meeting, and the other one is on Thursday. I feel, this is a little bit more friendly to the people from the Western Hemisphere, and this will be held on Thursday 11th. At 7 p.m. UTC time. So I see that we have only a few packages left, so we are almost done with the installation. After the installation, you will have the GNOME initial setup executed to actually create initial user for you. So we did set root password here in the installer, but the rest will be done through GNOME initial setup. That's something that I would like to add to Leap as well with the self-install media, because I feel like this is an easy way how to give somebody maybe pre-installed laptop and they can just create users as they like. Okay, last 200 packages. Again, I've mentioned it, but tasks are categorized high. By the priority high means we highly recommend you to test something. Medium, it's it's optional. For example, here we already have browser pre-installed in the MicroOS desktop. It's the Firefox. It comes from FlatHub as a Flatpak. It's installed again, as I've mentioned, user side, so not system-wide, which is why for additional installations you will mostly not need root password, which is pretty nice. And if it's low, then it's up to you. It's still good to go through task descriptions to see how you would do it if you would be doing it. which will help you on your journey with such platform. Big an important step, if you would decide to skip it, is actually joining the Telegram channel openSUSE MicroOS desktop, which currently acts as the best place to get some support from community. If you have some questions that you would like to get answered, definitely join the openSUSE MicroOS desktop group. We will install Element Metrics client, which people like to use with all of our IRC channels, Telegram, and Metrics Bridge, which is all bridged to Metrics. And an Element is a metrics client, so as part of the example you can use whatever you want. If you want to use Telegram client, feel free to use so. So we are almost done with the installation, just saving the settings and followed by a reboot. So once you're done with the installation, just type OK like I did so in your column. Also, please describe, like, unless it's super secret, what sort of hardware are you using, you know, something like VirtualBox or or KVM, or I don't know, some type of laptop is perfectly sufficient. Cool. So, okay. Again, if you have any comments, see how others are doing it. So here, the next task after reboot and some of the user side software will be installed, like as part of the first boot experience. There's a task to update your system. You may want to do this task like in a week or so, like, or a few days, because you've most likely just downloaded the latest image, which has the latest software available. But like the important part is to know how to do it. The original plan was to show it through GNOME software, but that's that system update specifically that the task is about is not like fully implemented for our cause. So this is what we recommend users to run: transactional update tab. Keep in mind that MicroOS desktop is transactional based. On the regular release, you would do transactional update period. And yeah, okay, so GNOME initial setup. Let's go over the defaults. Okay, let me move it a little bit or increase it. Good, next. I am located in Czech Republic, so let's do Prague. Next. Skipping online accounts, Luboš, Next, I will use for a simple password for the VM. As I've mentioned, otherwise I'm running MicroOS desktop here as my main OS. Cool. So now we are installing the. This is actually really cool. Richard, I think, integrated or created mod first due to the GNOME branding package, which install. It's a simple script that installs additional software. I like the way how it's done, especially if you tweak the image, and then you can install whatever you want for your company, for example. Cool. So I will open terminal here meanwhile as the Firefox and other software is being installed, and we will be doing the update. So right now there is nothing, but I still want to. I hope the DVD agent will work and copy paste in between VM and host will work. Yeah, it does, which is good. So let's wait for this to finish because we are installing Flatpaks, and then let's run the update. Again, as mentioned, run it in a few days if you can. This is just for demonstration purpose. I will also open software. Well, we can wait, I guess. Otherwise, while we are still doing the installation part, there is a documentation that you can follow. Most of the docs are here, as mentioned in the comments. There is also a video from Richard. If you want to hear more details, this is not about details. This is really to set you up really quickly so you can use it. And it's more like feedback loop, right? Really, how did you like using it? Maybe you were afraid of the new concept, but in the end it worked out well. We want to hear that as well. Cool. So the Flatpak part is done, at least the first boot part is done. Let's do updates. As mentioned, I expect no updates because we just freshly installed it from the latest media. Yeah, done. So we don't have to reboot. If you see any updates, like specifically on the OS side, Flatpaks, you don't have to reboot. But on the OS, with Flatpaks, I would recommend to at least log out. But the OS update is actually, you have to reboot to the new snapshot to get the updates. To take effect. Good, so we are done. So again, type OK, right? Done. No updates. If you want to hear what's the next task. So install your preferred browser. I'm skipping this one, otherwise just run software. Because I'm perfectly fine with Firefox here. Otherwise I did install Chrome here. So you can just, if you want Chromium, whatever you want. Feel free to install it. Ideally, please install it from FlatHub by default. It always offers RPM if it's available, part of the, right? If we wouldn't be asking for our next gen workshop if we would just let you install everything as RPM. The idea is to actually get in touch with some new text, so please make sure that it's from FlatHub. And right, so you can install it if you want to. I will skip it. I will install the additional software here. So this is interesting task even with a low priority. I really wanted to show you how to do it from command line. The important part is -- user. It's really 2 dashes as mentioned in the task. You don't have to be root for doing so because again it's not system wide. Just type yes, and we have our gedit, which is Flatpak based. You could install it from RPM as well if you would like to, but again we are trying advanced stuff, right? Good, done. So now if I run gedit, come on, yeah, it's there already. Good. It's going to be the one from Flatpak. Cool. So you can type OK. Again, if you're done with the task, I already did so on my system that I'm using for recording element metrics client. So I will, let's do it because I really want to make sure that you get your hands on that one. Also, you can just look for this software here. GNOME software will get you to the install page. Again, please ensure it's from FlatHub here. The Alp itself may very provide a software from some sort of OBS repository. This is not a case yet, so stay tuned. At least this is what I've heard from initial discussion. So let's open it. And otherwise, I already have element on my main system as well. Right, this is the channel which you are supposed to join here in the next task, which, there you can get some support, so sign in, use the openSUSE, metrics, openSUSE.org, and then continue with openSUSE login as you are used to. It will get you to, browser and our SSO. I think this is actually my password for here. Yep, continue. Open link, which will get you to here. And you are logged in. Make sure to join the MicroOS desktop. It couldn't log you in? Okay. Maybe because I'm already logged in. Oh, now it worked. Okay, so make sure to join the MicroOS desktop, which I'm already in. I think that's one of the tasks here. Yes. You can also join like openSUSE project, which is IRC channel for this client. It covers everything that's bridged to the metrics server, IRC, Telegram, Discord, and any other channels that you like to. You can see that I'm in plenty of them. Right, so we've basically covered these tasks. So again, like mark them as done once you're done. Install Evolution client. I keep it low, so I will skip these. Same for the VLC or GNOME videos. I leave that completely to you as you like. Maybe you like different player. Here, the interesting part. So you've heard like we are using transactional update here, which installs software into new BTRFS snapshot or system snapshot, which is based on BTRFS snapshots. And in order to actually see the changes, you have to reboot into the new snapshots. But there is a way how you can skip it. So one is like Flatpaks, as you've seen now. The other option is to actually run Toolbox. So here we mentioned Toolbox Enter. So let's do Toolbox Enter, which will fetch a, I believe it's Tumbleweed-based container in our case. And that will be technically your second shell, where you can just install whatever software you want as RPMs. Since it's container, it's sort of isolated from the system, but like the container has access to the local file system. So you can work with it as, as a regular user having access to your data, which is pretty cool. And you don't have to be afraid that you would mess up your system with some unwanted software, for example. Cool, so we are part of the container. Next task would be to run zipper, install Git, openSUSE release tools, RPM dev tools. So this is software which would be used for packagers, for example. So let me just paste it here. Yes, it's Tumbleweed based on the repositories. And you can actually see the difference. So we are installing Git here, right? Let's give it a few seconds. So otherwise Git is not available on the system. If you would like to install it, you have to use transactional update package install, which is also part of the exercise later. Here it's actually installing quite a lot of software to get Git and the other Python stuff for the openSUSE release tools like OSC. And like you can keep it isolated from your system if you want to work with Git and stuff. You can keep it like in some sort of container, like you can keep other containers for other stuff, and have some nicely isolated environments for your experiments. Cool. So we are here. You can see that Git is available here. While I can maybe kill this one. Open new terminal. Run Git. You can see it's not available system-wide. If I do exit from this one, I get it's not there. If I enter again, I can access Git. So one of the tasks here is to actually check out something like landing page. I believe we can do git clone, and this is a web page, but I think if I just do git, like it will work. Yeah, correct. And you can see that I've checked it out into my home directory, right? Which is also available system-wide here. But here I don't have git. Well, here I do. Perfect. So you can leave the toolbox, right, by running exit, and you can enter it again. Like it's quick once the container is pulled. So now it's just a matter of a second. So we've covered these tasks, so mark them as okay. Right, here we have transactional update based installation. So as I was putting this task list together once I've installed like the MicroOS desktop from scratch. So whatever I needed, like mount USB drive, I just said, well, let's show you how to do that. So here we are actually installing RPM, and it's NTFS3G. So for let's get away from the toolbox. And we are using let's actually look up the software first, right? So for that you can use zipper search as you are used to from traditional software search, and we are looking for NTFS3G. I think I'm using test here as a password. Yeah, right. So and then sudo transactional update package install NTFS3G. So you have to reboot to take changes into place, because again, as mentioned, it's going to be in a new snapshot. So sudo reboot. I can imagine that the amount of reboots initially done to set up the system could be quite high, but like once you're done, like I better reboot. Like I keep this system up for a week. See, and the reboot is quite quick. It's a really small system. That's cool. So we are done. Like if the USB redirection would be working in Flatpak based GNOME boxes, I would show you how it mounts the USB drive. I believe I have the USB drive here. So I can, yeah. Did it mount? Yeah, this is on my system, right? So this works. Should be my NTFS formatted drive, but it's not in the VM. Cool. So we are done here. Again, reboot. We did reboot. NTFS is auto-mounted. It was auto-mounted, but not in my VM. Now altering immutable system, and this is quite cool because I didn't know that you can actually do it like this. I was really actually remounting the snapshot in some different partition and so on. I mean, in different mount point, and then altering it, changing the read-only attribute. But you can do it really easily. So just run transaction update shell. And that's it. So now you will get actually a shell where you can touch like everything. So if you do touch A, for example, on sudo touch A, just to make sure that it's not permission issue, you will get still can't touch. And here in the snapshot, you can, like everything is read write. And so we are done. So just type exit. If you are done with your work on the, it's a good idea. If you would mess up your system with any local changes that you've done, you can just reboot to the previous snapshot, right? So unless we reboot, like we are fine. After reboot, you can always go down to previous snapshot, like you can do here, right, with some older version. So, but I will just reboot to the new snapshot, which will already contain that /a, which would not be available before the reboot. So again, I appreciate the really quick startup. It's pretty cool. Even for VM on real hardware, it's actually even faster. Cool. And so now I guess the LSA, yeah, it's there. Cool. Now, if I would like to do rm/a, I can't because it's read only, right? Yeah. Cool. So we've covered this part. So again, mark it as okay in your section, right? And now we are actually doing the container experiment. So here I was thinking like, okay, so if maybe you didn't work with containers before. So I was thinking, well, people usually have some sort of LAMP installed on their machine, like, but how to make it really easy. So it's just copy paste. So here in this demo, you will run Nginx server, which is a simple HTTP server. And, we will basically pass again, just like for the toolbox, the local, some directories to the container, so we can tweak the files on our side, like without being in the container, while the service will be decoupled from the system, right, running in the container. So there is a nice how-to that you can just follow. I did update it to work with MicroOS desktop using SC Linux, so keep in mind that, yeah, if you use AppArmor, maybe you need to do something differently. Maybe you can just remove that Z, which tells Podman to relabel the directories. But yeah, okay, so we want to create the directories that will be shared. Like you can create them wherever you like. I was just following the wiki page which was using these, so that's why I use them as well. Again, if you are not running SC Linux, maybe you don't need that Z part. Well, maybe you don't. I'm not sure if you need something additional for AppArmor. So now Podman will basically relabel directories. It will actually make them available as Podman volumes to the container. It will redirect host port 80. If you don't want to use sudo, you can use something like 8080, some non-privileged port. And the same for HTTPS, or you can skip the HTTPS. And yeah, it will work. Otherwise, more details in the wiki. So I will just use default instructions. Oh, I didn't paste the second line. Okay, well, it's not second line. It's really just very long line here. And the container on the startup will actually populate these directories which are otherwise empty. You can see before, well, now maybe it will be already populated because the container started. Yeah, okay, it was faster than I was. But it's actually populating the directories that we've passed. So we have an Nginx running, so you can see the next task is actually saying, well, part of the task is saying visit localhost, right, in the browser. So we will just do localhost, which should show us some welcome screen of Nginx. Cool. And the next task is just to tweak it locally, again, not in the container, right? Also, I'm running the Nginx as not daemon, so I didn't pass dash D to podman, but you can do that. Article should suggest to do so, but in this case you get like std error and std out on the terminal, which is useful, especially if you are debugging SE-Linux. So yeah, let's go to srv. What's the directory? Srv Nginx htdocs, I think, that we've passed, right? And there is the index HTML, which has this content. So again, I'm doing it as user on my machine. If you don't, you can share it from your home directory, and then you don't have root permissions. Welcome to, well, let's do Ahoy, because we are pirates, right? And like I've done it, right? I didn't go to the container. See, container kind of the service took the change. You can see that already took place, which is good. So this is a way how you can run services like Apache and so on in container while you can still work with the data locally, which is pretty cool for any sort of development purposes, right? And then there is the tech preview for the GDM in the container to completely decouple like the graphical stack from the system, so you don't have to use transactional updates to update it, but you can just update container content, exchange it, and switch it without reboot, which is more to traditional experience that users have, right? So feel free to do so. There is a nice readme that you can follow. It's about additional software installation. So I suppose rendering in this case means something like transactional update, install, package install, and MDs. And so Podman is already available in MicroOS desktop, so you don't have to install that one. But the rest, I believe you need to. You need to do set enforce permissive to switch to permissive mode. Otherwise, yeah, I guess this still needs to be worked out, and then running this as root, and so on, and you should be done. This is a low prior. It would be really nice to see what you think about it. It's a tech preview, right? That's why it's marked as optional. And then the next task, and I believe this is the last one, is actually to build our Flatpak template. So this is really just to show how you can use our OBS templates for Flatpak in a few seconds. So let me just log in there, and it's also completely optional. But I can show you how it's easy. I believe that I for default to pack. Oh, okay, wrong password. So yeah, now I'm there. Here, right? Good. I should be logged in already. Good. So if you scroll down, you will see templates for Flatpak. So choose that one. Just click create. I believe that I already did so nothing happened. It's already built. Otherwise, wait a few minutes until the Tumbleweed one is built, like you are running Tumbleweed, so probably this is the one that you want to use. But in fact, it doesn't matter, right? It's Flatpak, so that's the beauty of it. And the software that we are using as an example is Mahjong, which is a game, right? And you can check how like such spec for it looks like. So it's usually YAML or JSON, which is subset of YAML, in fact. And right, and then you can download it once it's built. For us, that already happened. So I will just download this file. And then you can install it. Flatpak install -user just like you are used to, and point to the local file, which will be, in my opinion, in downloads. Correct, yeah. And then work. There. And you did install it. Oh, whoa. I think that we wanted to do no, but yeah, okay. You could just install the local one, so we did install the remote one. Let me edit to instructions before. Oh. Just be careful to not answer yes when you are prompted to install it from FlatHub. Good. Lessons learned, and I guess docs were improved. Let me remove it afterwards and then we can redo it. So, yeah. I guess that would be Flatpak remove user, I guess, something like this. Okay, can I just maybe mention something like Ordinal Mahjong? Yes. And install dash user. No. Yes, proceed with changes, right? Okay. Well, in this case, that was quick. Cool. And since we are done with the tutorial, I would like to ask you to join one of the sessions either on 9th of August or 11th. 9th of August is the same time slot as now. 11 is here, it's 7 p.m. UTC, which is roughly 9 p.m. CST. It's more Western friendly slot, so feel free to see us again. We will use the workshop to hear from you. We don't want to hear like how did these tasks go that you've tried, because we basically know the experience. It was more for show of how to do XYZ, and we really want to hear like what have you been like doing, and maybe what was blocking you from using it as your daily driver, like machine that that you use as your primary machine. And if you can't use it as a primary machine, maybe install it on secondary laptop. If you have something around, try to use it. Tell us like what was generally blocking you from using it. We want to hear that. And if you appreciated something, tell us too. Like that's actually the feedback which always makes our hearts melt. So we want to hear that as well. And if you are a little bit shy, don't worry. Like I will be doing screen sharing. Everybody gets the link to this workshop, and you can work. You can type. You don't have to speak up. And it can be fully anonymous if you choose to, which is fine. So talk to you in a week or in, 11 days, based on what suits you better. Thank you very much, and I'll be looking forward to hear from you.